Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
This is Rapid Delivery Rory Fox, and you're listening to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler. I am joined, as always, by the one and only Mojito Mike. And if you didn't hear it at the top of the show, that is the Bill Apter seal of approved Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, because that is going to get played every single week now.
Yes, that is the same Bill Apter who is part of my independent wrestling promotion.
Yes.
That Bill Apter.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned on Wednesday for that. And that is the Bill Apter that just celebrated his birthday last weekend. So happy belated birthday to our good friend, Uncle Bill.
Can we just, I'm going to throw how cool Bill is. Tyler, being the more motivated of the two of us, remembered it was Bill's birthday and shot him an email, a private email just between us, and just wishing Bill a happy birthday. And not only did Bill remember us from, because he does a lot of stuff, so it would have been fine if he didn't even remember, like if he didn't remember who we were. Not only did he remember us, but he shot back an email saying thank you for the well wishes, and hey man, give me a shout in a few weeks and I'll come back on the show. He didn't need to say any of that stuff. He didn't even need to reply, and it wouldn't have changed our view on Bill. But that just goes to show the how much of a class act that Bill Apter really is.
Absolutely. And you mentioned him part of the show this Wednesday and every Wednesday going forward. Mike, tell people what we're doing.
Well, by the time you're listening to this, if I'm not mistaken, you'll already have seen.
That's right.
Yesterday.
One. That's right.
Yesterday, episode 1 of Showtime with Mike and Tyler would have hit YouTube, and episode 1 will be the first televised product from Tyler's yet to be named company.
Yeah, help me name it. I was thinking of just naming it the Count It Out COW, Count It Out Wrestling, just because I love us that much. I think that's what I'm going with.
Cow. You're gonna go with cow.
Cow. I can feel it now.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Anthony suggested I name it Classic Wrestling Association.
Oh.
And I mentioned Anthony because he'll be joining us next week on the show.
Yes, he will. If you don't know what we're talking about right now about Showtime, go back into last week's show if you haven't heard it yet. We worked for 3 weeks on drafting this a fantasy roster. We enjoyed doing it so much that we've decided to do a weekly show on YouTube where we take those fantasy rosters and put on fantasy shows.
Yeah, it's so fun.
We'll see if people actually like it or not, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. We're having such a fun time doing it. So
I don't give a shit.
It's just the nerdy part of us coming out and and having some fun.
Hell yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Mike, what's happening tonight? As a matter of fact, as of listening, releasing on Thursday, the 27th, 20.
So if you were listening to this right now, on the day it was released on Thursday, then we're not the only people dropping a big show today. Finally, after I don't know how many months of us talking about it seems like at least 6 months, the All Ontario Cup put on by Barry Wrestling and Sean Gibson is finally being released. The first round block, sponsored by the
Wrestling on the Rise
podcast. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, great guy.
That's the first showing this Thursday will be his block. Already, it's a great block. I threw out some I threw out some.
Predictions?
Thank you.
I got you.
I'm not Englishing today. I threw out some predictions on my personal and the Counted Out Facebook page a few days ago on this past Monday, but I'll go through them really quickly. As everybody knows now, what's his face there is getting a bye.
That one I don't have in front of me.
English me. Oh,
I don't have that one in front of me. I'm not that
you
cool.
Have my fucking,
that would have been so cool. Imagine I nailed that one. That would have been so cool.
Del Bruno is getting a bye in the first round. The first actual match happening.
Del Bruno. All right, sorry. I'll be
the first actual match happening is our boy Black Lavender taking on one of the most incredible female wrestlers I've ever seen live in Addie Starr. This is a really tough one, so I'm going with my gut, and I called Lionel Knight to go ahead on this one. Then we have our boy, man, Anton.
I love Anton. Such a cool dude.
Anton is taking on a veteran, man. He's taking on one of the best Ontario has ever seen in the Notorious TID.
Do you know like about Notorious TID's history at all? Like, did
no,
you know?
I don't. I don't know much about him.
He was actually one of the founding fathers of live audio wrestling back in the day. Him and Jeff Merrick, which has now evolved into post wrestling with John Pollock and Wei Ting. But it was like him, Dan Lavransky, eventually Jason Agnew joined it. I'm telling you, post wrestling is the most credible wrestling news that you will find anywhere.
You know what? I was just listening to their review of the Bound for Glory pay-per-view just a few hours ago while waiting for you to come on. It wasn't John and Wei, it was their other guys that
WH Park or something like that.
I forget, some
or
British
Nate,
guy and
Nate Milton.
some other guy.
Yeah, they've got a couple guys on their channel.
It's the dudes that usually do their Impact part of it. But they had great points, really, really like solidified what this show was all about. It's a great podcast. I should be listening to this podcast a lot more than
especially when John and Wei are on there. John and Wei are they're what made me want to do this. So like and I'll just to toot their horn a little bit. Before we started this, I actually reached out to Wei Ting on Twitter and I said, hey, like I'm looking to start a podcast, and he replied and gave me great advice. And I'd really like to get Wei to come on our show one day. That would be cool.
If you listen to any of our shows for the first year of this podcast, you know that we didn't listen to any of his advice.
That is correct.
I needed to check. I needed to fact check some things before doing my list today, and I needed to go back and listen to our Royal Rumble show from last January, and I can't believe I made it through it. The audio is just such shit. We've come a long way since January, for Christ's sake.
We've come a long way and lost a lot of viewers. Come back, please.
We have not lost any viewers.
No, I'm just kidding.
Gained quite a bit because we weren't using YouTube before.
That is correct. No, I'm happy with everything. I kid. Thank you for all your support, everybody. Anyways, as we digress.
Going back to the Notorious TID, I hate to do it, man, but I got him doing the job to Anton in this.
I think so too, personally. And just imagine Anton fighting any of the next two guys in the next round in the next matchup, which is going to be the match of the night, I think.
The match of this show for me personally, you got my hometown boy, our hometown boy, John Atlas from right here in Newmarket, Ontario, a man who hasn't even been beaten by death. Okay. Cancer can't get him, getting shot can't get him. Who's going to beat this man? Well, maybe the guy that we call the fastest rising star on the independent scene today in Big Ben Ortmans. If anyone can do it, it's Big Ben. Let's see if we're on the same page here. If we have to make official predictions for this match, it could go either way, obviously, but I'm going to go with Big Ben.
I think I'm with you on that one. And I would hope that would set up future title matches, as John Atlas just recently won the 3 Pistol Championship. And I just really want to see Ben and Anton, in all honesty.
Yeah. Plus, to be honest, John's really, he's solidified his place in the Indies. Like he's already done it. Ben's still really up and coming. Ben still has a name to make for himself, and a victory over John Atlas is going to do it. This is no slight against Ben at all, but a victory over Ben doesn't do as much for John as a victory over John does for Ben.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you're going to get the second round matches as well on that event, which is going to be exciting. And then the semifinals will be at a later date.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys got to check out the product. You know what? I think it's $10. Is that what it is for the event on YouTube?
It was. I don't know if he's changed the price for late covers, but like I said on our Facebook page, all you have to do is shout out to a guy named Sean Gibson. Type his name into Facebook, click on his name, send him a message. He will send you the links. He will send you anything you need. $10, man.
I think, and I'm pretty sure $10 gets you the whole tournament.
Everything. It gets you everything.
And you're not going to want to miss next week, because next week is the countedout7.com block.
And if you're sitting here going, $10 to see a bunch of wrestling that I don't follow or that I don't know or blah, blah, blah. Think of it this way. Your $10 isn't going into Sean's pocket, okay? Your $10, and I mean your entire $10, is going because he wanted to make sure that he paid these wrestlers what they were worth.
And I'll tell you what,
there was no audience here. There's no, he's not making anything off this. Sean is doing this out of the love of professional wrestling, and he wants to make sure that his locker room gets paid.
And as a double guarantee, how about this? If you guys are really on the fence, hit up Mike and he will give you $10 personally himself. And I'll give you guys his phone number. You can call him up, his private message us, and I'll make sure that Mike.
That's not funny. That's my karma coming back. I once gave Danny's number out on the podcast on the last week Mark once, because I thought it was really funny.
That is kind of funny. Either way, that's our Buried Wrestling Talk. Support a great local cause. Head up on our YouTube page and check out all the Buried Wrestling Event Centers. See some really fun promos. Mike and I and Jay stepping into the Sean Mooney / Mean Gene Event Center role. We had fun recording that.
We really did.
We are no actors, so except for Jay. Jay is an actor, so he did a very good job. Mike was drunk and I'm awkward. I
was a drama student all through high school, so
I had a lead role in the play. I'm not gonna lie.
I faked my way through it.
Oh,
all right, let's get into some stuff before we get to the list. By the way, today's list, you inspired me last week, man. Just the last few weeks, so much Mick Foley talk.
Yeah,
on Classic Match Classroom, you guys were doing the Mick Foley and Undertaker stuff last week, right?
We did Mick Foley, Randy Orton.
Oh,
And then on Halloween, we're doing Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, but we're starting with the Mick Foley feud. And as an added bonus, we do a segment called the Honor Roll Student, who we kind of give a praise to either an unsung hero throughout a rivalry or just like a running joke, like just to make something funny, right? And Mick Foley actually just won the Honor Roll for Don Morocco and Jimmy Snuka for his promo with Jim Ross putting over that feud.
There you go.
That's our Classic Match Classroom plug.
So you've been talking about Mick a lot on Classic Match Classroom, which you can find at countedout7.com. We did a full list. You counted down the top 7 moments of his feud with The Undertaker last week right here. With all this Mick Foley talk, it really got me thinking, and I decided to do a top 7 Mick Foley match list.
I'm
not gonna lie to you, man. This list nearly killed me. And not for the reasons you think. I'm not going to lie to you, man. There's not nearly as many great matches as I thought there'd be.
Really?
There's a lot of good matches, but not nearly as many great matches.
Ooh.
I originally planned this out to be a 14-piece list. I was going to do this over the span of 2 weeks. While working on the list, I said, nah, I can do this in 7. Easy.
I'm glad you did 7.
I just thought at first I thought I would have to do 2 shows in order to get it out, because I thought he would have so many amazing matches. The matches we're going to talk about today are amazing, but there definitely wasn't 14 amazing matches.
Yeah, I think 14 is a bit of a stretch of not that Mick Foley hasn't had 14 great matches, but first of all, we do 7 for a reason. No cop outs, all right. And
Well, this is why I was going to do it in 2 shows, 2 top 7s.
but with Mick, like I don't know, man.
Dick.
I'm intrigued to hear. I just like to bust your balls. I'm intrigued to hear what you got going on here. I can think of a bunch of good Mick Foley matches off the top of my head. You know, I'm excited to see what you have. I know last year you did the Terry Funk list.
I think my prediction right now is you're going to agree with everything that's on my list. I think you're going to have big issues with the order.
I've got a couple matches I'm hoping to see on your list. I'm going to bring it full circle here. One of Mick Foley's good friends is Terry Funk, right? On our archives, you did the top 7 Terry Funk matches. I can't remember the year span. I think like 97 to 2000 because he was in all the promotions. And I got super drunk on Jack Daniels for that episode.
I remember that.
Well, guess what? We're talking about Mick Foley, and I'm drinking Jack Daniels again. You can't. There it is. I'm planning on getting Jack Daniels drunk for this list as well.
That's why you went home.
That's why I went home. Normally I record at work. I was like, you know what? We got to do this. We got a couple points we're going to talk about before we get on the list. So we're going to have our main discussion point in a moment, which is going to be, we're going to list our one positive and one thing we'd like to see improved in every major promotion in the wrestling industry, which I think is going to be a fun conversation piece. But you got a couple things you want to touch on really quick first, right?
I do. Before I get into the 2 things I want to talk about, would you I'll let you this week. I talked about I did SOS a couple weeks ago, so I'll give this one to you. Do you want to talk about the little bit of somber news that we got this week?
Yeah, I'm really upset by this one. Jimmy Rave has gone through a really, really hard time lately. And for those of you guys that don't know Jimmy Rave, take a minute and check out his legendary work in Ring of Honor. And I'm going to use the word legendary because it's really underrated work.
So underrated.
He was a member of the Embassy with Prince Nana, I believe his name was. Was that his name, Prince Nana? I can't remember off the top of my head. Either way, it doesn't matter. I loved his heel work. He was the crown jewel. Yeah. He had a legendary feud with CM Punk. He had great rivalry with Nigel McGuinness. All kinds of great work that Jimmy Rave has done. Last year, unfortunately, he lost his arm. Yeah. And it's been reported and not reported. It's been put out by Jimmy himself that unfortunately that the disease that he has spread into his legs, and now and he's going to lose both of his legs.
Well, apparently he has lost both his legs.
Yes, sorry, they've just been amputated.
He's just putting this out now. Apparently, this happened back in June.
Oh, really?
That's what his tweet said. Anyways, he just didn't. Nor does he have he doesn't have to give out any information, but he didn't want to talk about it at first. He didn't want to tell people. So it took him this long to be like, okay. And that's exactly how it started that tweet. He says, I guess I finally have to talk about this. And then he put out the information. It's like back in June, I was told that I was going to have an amputation, and they weren't going to wait. They said they had to do it right away. So it looks to me, by the way I read, it looks like he had his legs amputated back in June.
Oh, okay.
Either way, he now unfortunately he's now lost 3 limbs. It's a horrible thing to happen to anybody. But not to make it sound worse or anything like that. It is a horrible thing that happened to anybody. But for somebody who, for a living, works with their limbs, it's different. And not only does he do that for a living, it's his hobby, it's his passion, it's
the love of his
lifestyle.
Life.
So when you lose all that, it was hard enough when he lost his arm. Now he lost his legs, and it's there's nothing to say. It's heartbreaking.
If anyone's listening to this, do me a favor and just reach out on Twitter and just send him a nice message. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm sure he is the level of depression he's probably going through and sadness, and it's got to be. I can't even. I'm not even going to try to pretend to know what he's going through. But if the people can send their love out to him and keep him motivated and know that he's loved and respected, I think it would go a long way. Mike is still working. I think it'll be up shortly in the next week or two about the GoFundMe page. I want to do this right, so I'm not just throwing up a
half-ass thing. But in the next few weeks, I will have a charities page on
Yes.
our webpage where any place that we want to share that you can go and help out somebody in the professional wrestling business, you'll be able to on our webpage.
Yes, and please, if you are able to, please help out Jimmy Rave. He really could use it.
Absolutely.
And if you got a couple minutes, I highly recommend hitting up on YouTube. Find his match with CM Punk inside the steel cage. They really do something special. Yeah, I don't know, man. That one really made me sad, and I'm going to personally try to reach out to Jimmy as well and just let him know that everyone's cheering for him.
That we're exactly.
That's it. We're with him.
It's hard to find a segue to move on from this, so I'm just going to tear the Band-Aid off and go ahead with it. I want to talk about, number one, there's been this past week, there's been a ton of amazing wrestling. Okay. This has been a great week for professional wrestling. Between WWE's Crown Jewel pay-per-view actually having a lot of great matches on it.
Yeah.
Both Dynamite and Rampage had some stellar matches, and we'll talk about those a little later on. GCW put on a phenomenal pay-per-view, and Impact put on a phenomenal pay-per-view.
Yeah,
there's just been so much great wrestling all in the span of a week.
And Impact's got Josh Alexander and Minoru Suzuki fighting this week as well. Yeah. It's already happened. It's been aired on Tuesday, but I can't wait to watch that match. Too.
So then we're put a pin in that because I'm going to be talking about that in my next point.
Ooh,
so my what I want to talk was one of the things that I did see, because I didn't sit down and watch full shows, but I watched all the matches I wanted to see, including the AEW stuff.
Wow.
Sidebar, one of my favorite matches I've seen in the last 3-4 weeks, Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes.
That's on my list. I got to watch it. I really want to watch that match. Yeah, I heard lots of great things about it.
I'm not a fan of either of these guys, but Pac versus
Andrade.
Yeah. Anyways, here's one thing I want to talk about from the AEW side of things, though. There was an unfortunate incident in a match between Eddie Kingston and
Lance Archer.
Now, Lance did a move wrong. Well, a move didn't go the way Lance wanted it to go. Lance felt wrong and hurt himself. Okay, that's the sticky of it. This is professional wrestling. It happens. Here's the thing. It seems, for my money, from what I've been seeing, it's happened more than once now, a good handful of times. I'm thinking all the way back to like a match with Matt Hardy like over a year ago, where there's been a pretty bad injury, especially a head injury, and they're not stopping the matches. And I'm starting to, and I'm not blaming just AEW. I'm saying this is getting to be a thing in professional wrestling again. And I have some questions, and I have some problems. Listen, it's not 1996 anymore. It's not 1997 anymore.
It's not the 80s.
We're not holding on to that last thread of kayfabe. Kayfabe's fucking gone. Okay, by stopping a match due to injury, you're not exposing the business. You're not wrecking anything. You're not fucking anything up for the storylines. You're protecting your talent. Okay?
And if any fan says that you're wrecking it for them, then they're not a real fan of the business.
I've heard already a bunch of comparisons to Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Owen Hart, and people are like, well, they finished that match. Why weren't you mad about that? I'm like, well, first of all, I was 16. Fuck you.
Also, if you saw the finish of that match, they probably would have been better off just ending it. Because I think it does more harm to the business watching a roll up like that than not to shit on Steve Austin, the amount of courage that it took for him to do that roll up.
Of course, they should have called the match.
Yeah.
And here's where I lie here. Now, one of the arguments there, I'm putting it on the table right now that I say that the ref should have stopped that match. Okay. An argument that's come against me has been, oh yeah, well, didn't you see he told the ref he's okay?
Oh, I hate that argument.
Thank you. So here is my question, not only to you, to our listeners, to everybody. Should wrestlers be allowed to make calls on their own injuries?
Here's my answer.
I say absolutely not.
I'm going
It
to
should
take
be on
it.
the referee or the people on the mics in the back, talking to the referee.
I'd like to take it a step further and use the word athletes. No matter what sport you are in, any competitor or athlete is never going to take themselves out of the game. Exactly. If you're doing boxing, UFC, the NFL, your arm could be dangling like this.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, I'm fine. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
It's not between ego, adrenaline, anything else. You know what I mean? An athlete's never going to say, I can't do this anymore. Pride, exactly. Whatever it is, right? You are 100% right. It should be on the referee, the official, the ownership.
There's doctors everywhere these days.
Yeah.
Why isn't there a doctor on the side going, okay, no, throw up the X?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time AEW has been guilty of this, and it's starting to really bother me. Listen, if it was an arm injury, if it was a leg injury, whatever, I'd give you some.
Yeah, don't mess around with
fuck around with head injuries.
I agree.
It's just one of those things. We are far past that. It's no longer okay to go on commentary and be like, that guy's got 17 concussions in the last 2 days. He's a tough SOB.
It's not cool anymore.
No, it's not cool anymore. We know too much about CTE. We know too much about the detriment of concussions. We know too much about what it can do to you. So why are we taking these risks?
I'm at a point now too, and we're going to talk about this guy today, Mick Foley, right? I've met Mick Foley on a number of occasions, and he couldn't be nicer. But watching him walk, it makes me sad. Yeah. Because you can tell that he's in bad shape. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love the match that Daniel Bryan and Suzuki had a couple of weeks ago. They had a great match, but I don't really want to see Daniel Bryan get punched in the face aggressively.
Knowing what we know about his history.
And Daniel Bryan Danielson I think he's my favorite wrestler, and he might even be my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't know what it is about him, but I just between his in-ring work, his character work, and just what you see of him as a human being, I just think I just really like him. And I don't want to see him get hit in the face that hard. I want to see him go out there and compete and have those great matches, but I don't want to see that strong side. With Edge too. I don't want to see him.
I said that at the beginning of this Suzuki run, which again we're going to get to in a minute. A little bit of strong style goes a long fucking way for me. Mm-hmm. It really does. If anybody saw the Suzuki match with Nick Gage in the last few days, man, Gage has been in some of the most violent matches in wrestling history in the last 5-6 years. There was no blood in this match. There was no light tubes in this match. It was still probably the most violent match.
I was going to say, he probably wished there was. And kudos to Suzuki. I was listening to Briscoe and Bradshaw podcast, and who were they talking about? I can't remember, but they were saying, they were comparing the age group of Suzuki and Bradshaw, and Briscoe, and the same age when Briscoe and Patterson were doing their run as the Stooges is the same age as Suzuki having these strong style matches, and it's absolutely crazy. It's so funny to me. Suzuki's a tough bastard, man, and I'd like to watch this match with Gage. It's on my list.
Well, let's segue.
Yeah,
because that's my last point before we get into yours. My last point is the Suzuki tour.
It really has been spectacular, though. Right?
I want to talk about this because he has been in pretty much every promotion except for Ring of Honor and WWE. He's been everywhere.
Before you get into it, can I sidebar question you?
Yeah.
If he were to go to WWE and Ring of Honor,
stop it.
Who would you want to see him? Oh, you're gonna ask me that question?
I'll get.
Man,
there.
We're so cool.
I will feed you, baby bird. I've got my answer, and I think. I bet you anything we're going to be on the same page.
I got to put some thought into this. You ramble on, and I'm going to start thinking. I'm not listening to you. I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
So I was listening to the to the Post Wrestling podcast, and they made a great little point about Suzuki right now. where they're like, look how hard, like nobody is working as hard as he is right now. Nobody's doing as many shows as he is at the level he is with the level of stars that he is. He's been on every single show in the last, what, 4 weeks?
Yeah, and he's working top guys, man. Moxley and AEW, Gage and UCW.
But
Josh
even
Alexander,
Impact. He doesn't know it. And he came out and he worked like 3 shows in a row for GCW, because he did Joey Janela as well and somebody else. And he's just been working his ass off. And one of the guys on this podcast says, I really hope that Tony Khan's going to help throw him a bunch of money or something like that and tell him to go on vacation. And the other guy starts laughing and says, dude, I think this is his vacation.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it went down, where he's like, hey, Gato, I need some time off. I'm getting my ass kicked over here.
Go fight the Americans.
Can I just, and Gato's like, yeah, go to the States for a bit, do your thing. And this is his idea. Fighting the Americans is his idea of taking it easy. You know what I mean?
Funny.
And because he was working this level every single day in Japan too. Mm-hmm. So, it's so funny. But so here's my question for you. He's already worked for all the major companies. He's not assigned anywhere. There's no reason that WWE NXT couldn't bring him in for a show the way they did with Drew and Thunder Liger a few years ago when he fought Tyler Breeze. There's no reason they couldn't. I'm not saying they will. I don't think they will, but there's no reason they couldn't. I mean, it'd be in their best interest to do so. He's hot right now, so why not? It doesn't hurt anything. But I know who I think he should face in the WWE and in ROH. I want to know what you think.
Oh, we're not giving this a lot of thought. I have an answer.
Should I go first and give you?
You go first, because I have a name in my mind that not a lot of people would think about right away, but I think they would have a great match. So you give me yours first, because maybe it'll inspire me to change my mind.
All right, Ring of Honor, no brainer. This is, no one's going to be surprised. Jonathan Gresham.
Yeah,
It's obvious.
PCO would be fun too.
PCO would be really fun. I was also going to say Jay Briscoe.
Yeah, one of the Briscoes would be great too. Yeah. Either one of them.
Yeah,
new GCW Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes.
Yeah, baby, love it.
We haven't talked
great
about that.
match too. You should watch that match.
Yeah, you drafted the other tag team, the Backstreet Boys, or what's their name? The Carnage.
The Second Gear Crew.
Second Gear. I don't know where that came from.
But yeah, that was a great match.
I'm gonna go I'll go PCO Ring of Honor just to be different.
Okay. WWE, I got Walter.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Right?
That's fantastic. This is not a match I don't think people are clamoring to see, but I think they would deliver. I'm going to say Seth Rollins.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think Seth could handle Suzuki.
I think Seth could. Seth is really good, man. Suzuki is like 51 years old. He needs someone that's going to, I'm not going to use the word carry him, but Seth is going to bump around for him. He's one of the best bumpers in the business today, man. I really think that after watching him and Bryan Danielson have their match, Suzuki and him, I think Seth could really bring out a different aspect of Suzuki. I think it'd be a cool match.
When's his match with Mox happening? Is that a Full Gear?
Who? Suzuki?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were fighting. I'm behind on AEW.
Well, wasn't that the one that was set up like at the beginning of Suzuki's?
Oh no, they've already fought. They fought on it. Okay. They fought a shipment. Didn't you hear about this whole thing? You know how everyone loves Suzuki's music and like everyone sings along with it? They cut off his music before the sing-along part and everyone lost their minds.
You don't do that.
And then they had like a main event match that only went like 8 minutes. And then they had a tag team match at the Arthur Stadium one with Kingston and Moxley against Suzuki and Archer, which was apparently really good.
Okay.
But yeah, they're done. Suzuki's done with them for now.
Yeah, I think Suzuki will be going back out east sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. That was a good talking point, man. I don't even think we don't even need to do my talking point, but we'll get into it, I guess.
Let's do it. Let's get into it. Like I said, we don't have to rush through it, but it's not going to take that long to go through it anyway. So
Yeah, so let's so basically what we're gonna do here, we're gonna list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we think are the 5 most important promotions in wrestling right now. We're not gonna put MLW or NWA on the list just because we don't watch it, so we
Yeah.
can't comment on it.
Maybe I am trying to get caught up because it's not that I don't watch them. I do watch them. I'm just not caught up. Not
don't.
even close to caught up.
I can barely watch AEW these days. Like
Yeah.
I'm so busy
I
between
need to get caught up on those 2 products.
you know that like one now that we've started doing this new show, like I have 3 shows that I'm doing now. This is insane. And I edit Good Friends Better Enemies and I'm gonna guest appear on their show. I'm finally gonna rebook Mayhem 99. Man, I'm busy these days.
I get you, man.
I can't watch wrestling.
I have 2 shows right now. I've got 2 shows in the making that
I can't
we haven't
wait.
announced.
We gotta get on that one. I can't wait for people to hear
yeah,
that. Either way.
So that I've got the fucking kid.
I got a dog. That's a real pain in the ass.
I've got another thing going on that I can't talk about publicly.
Oh,
that you know about, but no one else does.
I know, and you don't know.
But that is stressful. Then I got work, and we're 2 busy fucking guys.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, listeners.
Yeah. You know what? We're Patreon from now on. Give us your money.
So tell them what we're doing with these 5 promotions.
So basically, we're gonna pick Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, WWE, AEW, and GCW, and we're gonna say what our favorite thing is about their promotions that they're doing right now, and we're gonna say what something we think they should work on or what we'd like to see improved on. A pros and cons, if you will. Only 1 point each.
Before we get into it, I just want to tell you how I did mine, just to see how you did yours. I decided to stick to watching the product rather than be like, so for example, for AEW, I'm not going to be like, Tony Khan needs to shut his fucking mouth. Do I think that? 100%. But that has nothing to do with me watching their product. No, I'm gonna stay away from the backstage politics part of it and stick to what makes a good television show.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Also, I have not done any of my lists yet, so I'm doing it on the fly because I was busy at work tonight.
I wasn't going to either. Then you gave me some extra time tonight, so I said fuck it, and I wrote it all down.
Well, let's start with one of your favorites, and let's start with Ring of Honor.
Okay.
You go first.
Am I starting? All right.
Yeah, you go first.
My pro is easy, man. My pro is the fact that it's the best in-ring product in the world today.
Yeah, you're not going to get an argument out of me.
It's as simple as that. It is my favorite weekly product for so many reasons. Not only is it like the in-ring stuff amazing, it's a quick 1 hour product that keeps me engaged. I don't lose my focus. I don't lose my interest. I love this 1 hour format so much. So that's what they have working for them. If I had to nitpick, if I had to really say what is really wrong with this company right now, it would be really easy to be like, oh, they don't have fans in the crowd. Okay, but that's a personal decision on their part. I'm not going to fucking slam them for that. My problem, I don't think they know. I don't know who this is on. If this is on the management, if it's on Sinclair, if it's on Delirious, I don't know. But I don't think they know who their stars are.
Yeah. That's my con. It's they don't have a face of the company.
They don't. When I watch the product, nobody stands out. Even Jay Lethal, who's been one of their biggest stars for 20 years, is standing in the background. Jonathan Gresham is their most talented guy on the product, and even he is not out there as the star. Bandito is their world's champion.
I forgot that he was their champion.
Exactly. For over a year, Roosh was their champion, and nobody gave a fuck. There's no star power right now. That's not saying there's not star level matches, because there sure as hell is. But there's no, and none of these guys can you say, oh, they're not stars because they're not stars. Some of these guys would be huge stars if
they gotta get the right booking behind them, right? Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, lack of direction.
And it's not even the booking, because the stories are great and the matches are amazing. But it's the make us believe they're stars, man. They're not a lot of it. And again, this is my other big con. that has nothing to do with the actual on-screen product. Their marketing is garbage. Their
Yeah,
marketing has always been garbage.
Yeah.
And that is another reason people can't get behind. Your casual fan doesn't even know who's working for ROH right now.
And that includes me, and I kind of follow the product. My pro, I'm going to give an honorable mention to the commentary team. I really think that they're the best in the business.
Riccaboni and Caprice are the best commentary team in wrestling today.
My actual pro though is I'm going to say the pure title division. I really respect and I love the fact that they have this title. I love the credibility that they give to this title. I love the way that they promote this title.
I give a lot of that to Gresham.
Yeah, and
Gresham really helped elevate that title. Did everything he could for that title. He dropped it to the right guy in Josh Woods.
But I also love the fact. I love the fact that they're committed to that title, because I know it gets a lot of backlash online as well, and I don't understand why. Because I think the people that backlash it aren't watching these matches.
Absolutely,
Mike Bennett and Rick Titus absolutely tore the house down. It's from what I've read, at least. And I can't wait to watch that match. No, I'm behind. I'm behind about a week and a half on wrestling right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's really good, dude.
So I've got about 6 matches that I want to watch, but I've got some time this week that I'm gonna catch up.
Red Titus is
he's the unsung hero in that company right now.
He's just a horribly kept secret. Oh God.
But my con is gonna be, what are you doing to get your promotion out there? I respect the fact that they're not getting in on the Forbidden Door and all that shit. Hey, I'm cool with that. But you need
even with that said, they said the same thing on the Post podcast this week, and I didn't understand why people keep saying that. No, they haven't been sending guys to AEW, but their dudes work GCW every other fucking week.
Yeah,
Chris Dickinson, Tony Deppen, Jonathan Gresham, they're on every fucking GCW.
Do you think that maybe they go back to the well there and they do a GCW versus Ring of Honor feud at some point? Because that really worked well with CZW.
Yeah, personally, I would love that.
And I think Ring of Honor could use it.
Plus, I just got chills thinking of a Ian Riccaboni, Dave Prazak commentary booth.
Oh, that's so good with Lenny Leonard in there.
Yeah, because Dave Prazak's their number one commentator.
Make Lenny Leonard be the middle guy, because Lenny just did the shows this weekend, right?
Yep.
That's friend of the show, Lenny Leonard. Go in the archives. That's like one of the most underrated interviews we've ever done.
We really need to we really need to reach out to Prazak.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, so that's our pros and cons for Ring of Honor. Let's go GCW next.
All right. GCW, I think my pro might be your con, which is funny. But
okay.
My pro was that they are the best indie / niche product out there. They know what they are. They're not ashamed of what they are. They're not trying to be something they're not. They're like, hey, take us warts and all. Kind of like what the ECW did in the first time, when they first came out with it. ECW was like, hey, listen, we don't have the money to have this elaborate shit. So let's not pretend we're something we're not. Let's have shitty entrances. Let's have, but let's make up for it in the ring. And that's GCW.
That's what makes their product special.
That's GCW. GCW wouldn't be the same with the phenomenal production and
their fan base is their biggest pro.
Thank you. Agreed. And they are a niche product. They have a very slim demographic, but that's why they're what they are. If they were trying to be AEW, if they were trying to be, WWE and trying to widen their demographic, it wouldn't work and they would go under.
I agree with you.
My cons, and this is as somebody who watches it I watch pretty much every show. Their storylines can be very confusing.
Yeah.
Their booking as far as most matches are pretty good. But the storylines are sometimes they'll have like their main storyline is usually pretty good, and then everything else kind of falls to the wayside. So if Nick Gage is in your storyline, you're probably getting a shitty storyline. That's my con for GCW.
My pro for GCW is what my con is for Ring of Honor, and that is that GCW really knows how to get a buzz out there.
100%.
You know, I don't.
I said, like, I know you don't love it as much as I do.
I don't.
No, I don't mean the product. I mean, I sent you some promos. I sent you the Hammerstein promo package that they did.
Yeah,
I sent you that.
You like that a lot better than I did. I thought it was very well done, though.
I sent you the Ali Catch promo.
Yes, I watched most of that
a few weeks ago. Ring of Honor needs to take a page of GCW's book. The passion that is in this shit is unparalleled. And I think that's another probably a con for pro for GCW is their fucking passion.
Well, I'm taking a kind of a different direction though. I'm not going to say that I'm a fan of GCW, and I've said that a million times, but I really respect GCW. They're like the little engine that is doing it. You know what I mean? But they've done something that Ring of Honor hasn't been able to do for me. And that is, they got me to want to watch, like, can't miss things. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
Anything with Moxley, anything.
They took a guy like you and they made you want to go watch.
I'm not a guy that ever wants to watch GCW, and they got me. And I respect that. And
more than once.
Yeah. More than once. Absolutely. Absolutely. They have. And I've watched more GCW lately than I have Ring of Honor. And that's my pro for them. That's the goal as a wrestling promotion, is to get people like me, you know, the casual fan of that product. At least I'm a hardcore wrestling fan, but I'm a casual fan of GCW.
But at the same time, what I love them is you know, they'll bring in, they love you drinking the Kool-Aid, as it were, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they can't get those casual fans,
they don't give a fuck. I respect that because they're not changing their product, right? Exactly. I like that a lot. My con for GCW, I don't think you're going to agree with this because you're a bigger fan of the product than I am. I'm going to say right now, it's the way that they're doing Matt Cardona.
Well, they haven't. Okay. I think it's way too early for you to make that claim.
I think that they missed a bit of storytelling with him engaged still. I think there was more on the table there.
And I agree. And that was my con, because their storytelling does.
I don't give a shit about Cardona and Effie. Like, and not a knock on Effie. I just don't know who he is.
I love this story. And well, that's the point. They're trying to get people to know, because Effie is the second most over guy in that company.
But I think
they want other people to see that and get.
They just kind of like, here's Gage. He beat Cardona. Okay, Cardona. Like Cardona, I think there's a lot more that they could have got out of him still before they moved him to this.
I agree. And this is why my con was their storylines. Look what happened when Cardona beat Gage in the first place. Cardona beats Gage.
He broke the
internet.
Of Gage, they trended.
Instead of Gage going straight after Cardona, Gage went and fought a bunch of other guys and didn't care about Cardona. Cardona went and fought Frank the Clown. You know what I mean?
Which is great.
Like, yeah, but the story.
But he dropped the title way too soon. He was on the product too much. I really like. I linking that to when the WWE brought CM Punk back too soon, when he won the title and fucked off for a little bit.
A week later.
Yeah, that's how I link in that too. Like Cardona should have not been on every show. He didn't need to be, you know, and that should have pissed people off. And I just think that they're losing some of that heat that they had. They had him white hot heat
just because. I liked that he was on every show because he was coming on with that fucking Universal title, and the one week he's dressed like the do-rag Vince McMahon, and the next week he's dressed like Macho Man. It was great,
but it lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So that's my thing. I think they dropped the ball with the white hot heat that they had with Cardona.
Okay. All right, who's next?
Let's go AEW next.
Okay. My pro is I think they are really building the future of professional wrestling as far as their stars. They're the only company right now I think are building stars. They're building guys like Jurassic Express and Hangman Adam Page, guys that we're going to be talking about in 10 years from now. I think for the first time in history, a company is doing that better than WWE.
Yeah.
Even when WCW was beating them for those 86 weeks or whatever it was, they were building them with, you know, the stars that they took from them in the first place.
Come on, Hulk Hogan put over Billy Kidman.
You know what I mean, though? Like they the only stars they were making at that point in time where it was DDP, where
And
here,
Goldberg, that's it.
look what and Goldberg, sorry, yes, but look what they're doing right now in AEW. They are truly building stars, and I'll never defend AEW. I'm not an AEW fan, but I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, you're just using it. You're just WCW light. You're just stealing a bunch of WWE guys. Fuck off. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm so over that. Look what they're really doing. They've been using those WWE guys in the best ways to get these other guys over. To put the future guys over.
Yep. And even with Punk going over Darby Allin, it makes Darby a bigger star.
We'll see him. Punk hasn't lost a match yet.
He shouldn't.
Exactly. So guess what's going to happen when he does?
It's gonna put somebody over.
It's gonna be huge.
Who gives a shit if CM Punk is beating Bobby Fish?
Listen, I'll be on your side. I'll be on your side if the first guy to beat CM Punk is like Cody Rhodes or John Moxley. Sure, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but if the first guy to beat him is Jungle Boy or MJF,
thank you. That's exactly it. So that's my pro for AEW is their star building capabilities. Mike Khan is going to be no surprise to you. Mike Khan is their horrible commentary.
you don't like
it's one of the main reasons I cannot watch the show. I can't get through a show with. I know you'll defend him, but I think Excalibur is fucking horrible. I think Jim Ross is not the Jim Ross that people remember him as. He's just not. He's a shadow of what he was before. I will give it to Tony. Tony is still as good as he ever was. I will say that. But they need to get rid of everybody else and put something good with Tony. And you think it's bad on Dynamite? Holy fuck. Have you tried watching Dark?
No, I refuse.
My Christ. So friend of the show, Puff, was on Dark a few months ago. So I tried watching that match, and it was him and some other dude from Buffalo against Butcher and the Blade.
Oh, nice.
Good
All
match.
Buffalo boys.
Good match. I had to put it on fucking mute though, because it was some girl. I think Eddie Kingston and Taz.
Yeah,
I think Brian Kingston or I think Brian Cage is in there too. I think it was a mixed, and I didn't like Taz on commentary in WWE.
I liked him and Cole when it was the SmackDown 6. I thought they were good.
I didn't like him on commentary in Impact. And I don't like him on commentary now. I think he's garbage on commentary. So to hear him, I don't know if he's doing every week on Dark or not, but if he is, that's another reason for me not to watch the product.
Fair. For me, my pro is the atmosphere that AEW creates. I think that
would have been my second pro for GCW.
Yeah. I think when you turn the TV on, AEW has taken that GCW vibe, that ECW vibe, that special, NXT had that vibe. Mm-hmm. And thank you for giving NXT that credit. NXT is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they've transitioned that to a much larger audience. Mm-hmm. Without losing that special feeling, like what they always say about ECW, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Jungle Boy comes out, everybody's going whoa, 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 right? Jericho comes out, everyone's singing Judas.
It's one of those things where the fans are being allowed to be part of the show, but they're not.
But they're not hijacking it. Yeah.
And I do like that.
It really feels special. I've talked to some of our friends of the show, Nick from Universal Podcast, Jonah from Rely and Relive, that have gone to AEW shows, Anthony from the Titantron and Class Match Classroom. And they all said the same thing. It's refreshing to go to a wrestling show and see people our age. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're booking for us. You know, and not for kids, not for whatever.
I don't know. Those guys are each 20 years younger.
That's
than
fair.
Me,
That's
so
fair.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
That was a big pop for me.
Isn't Anthony like 19?
Anthony is 19, and that's what makes Class Match Classroom work. But I just think I think it's like wrestling for adults. You know what I mean? Like, are they perfect? No, they're not. But the energy that crowd brings, I really think makes the product special.
I'm interested in hearing your con.
It's the lack of rules. I have two cons for AW, and I'm not going to do this for any other company. I have two cons for them. The lack of the rules really, it bothers me when referees aren't being
I'm
respected.
so glad you said that, because we had a talk off air the other day about refereeing, and you were calling shit on WWE refereeing. And I'm like, I hope you're being fair here, because AEW is not fucking better.
I've always, and even when we had Jimmy Corderas on the show last year, that was a point that I made sure we talked about, because it's always been terrible. There needs to be respect. There needs to be rules, right? Mm-hmm. And it really, really bothers me. And I forgot my second con now. Damn it. If it comes back to me, I'll put it out there.
See, this is why you're supposed to write shit down, man.
Yeah, I know. And I had it because it was a good con. And I didn't want to just go the easy route with the refereeing. Whatever. We'll move on to another promotion. And if it comes back in my head, it comes back in my head. Damn it. I'm really pissed because my other con was really good. Refereeing, rules, AEW, what bothers me? No, AEW is perfect. Ask the internet, they'll tell you. No cons. Let's go Impact Wrestling next.
All right, my pro is they have the best women / intergender wrestling in the world. Every one of the women they have wrestling for them right now is one of the top tier wrestlers, not just women wrestlers in professional wrestling today. They don't bring in wrestlers that are just, you okay, you're some tits and ass, let's see what you can do. I think in the last 5-6 years, the only one you can maybe say that about would have been Scarlett Bordeaux, and even she could fucking go in the ring. So man, there's nothing bad I'll ever say about their women's division. And then you take that one step further. I am a fan of intergender wrestling. I think it's got its place in wrestling, and Impact has never been shy about that. They've never shied away from intergender wrestling. Hell, Tessa Blanchard was their world's champion, right? Jordan Grace was fighting for the X Division championship only less than a year ago, and now she just won. She's their inaugural social media champion,
digital media champion.
Digital media champion. I hate the name.
That's my con.
I hate the name, but I can dig their concept. I don't know. Do you know the concept of this?
No.
So they're doing a lot. Mostly, like, I'm sure the title matches itself will be on like pay-per-views, but the exhibition matches for the title for the division will all be on YouTube or Twitch or Instagram.
Like, I can't believe it took this long for any promotion to do that.
Right.
Zack Ryder had this internet title 10 years ago, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's phenomenal. The fact that, and he's working for that company, the fact that Matt Cardona wasn't their first champion is kind of funny.
The fact that the internet title hasn't been this generation's version of the WCW television title is beyond drop ball everywhere.
So it's a great concept. Putting it on Jordan Grace gives it some credibility, because she's one of the hardest workers that company has had in the last decade. So that's definitely my pro. My con is, I feel like the booking just isn't consistent. They go through like months of, I'm like, oh shit, did you see that? Did you see what they just did? They're telling great stories. They'll go through like a good like 6 to 8 week span like that, and all of a sudden just be like, blah, and give us nothing but shit for the next 6-8 weeks.
Yeah. Do
you find that too? Like I don't know if I'm just dreaming this.
Yeah.
I feel that I can't. There's something stopping me from staying connected with the product. I fall off. If it wasn't for Josh Alexander and Jordan Grace, I would have felt completely off the product a long time ago.
There's my pro.
But there's something keeping me there that whole time.
My pro is Josh Alexander. I think he's been one of the best booked / best wrestlers in the last 3 years. He is my pro with Impact Wrestling, 100%. The way they've handled him is
give it to Scotty. Scotty knew what he had in Jason or in Alexander a long time ago. I don't know if you watched the show. I remember I watched it live, not in the audience, but on pay-per-view. I was watching that Destiny show live, where Scott came out at the end of Josh's match and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that you are no longer the greatest unsigned talent in the world." And people started booing. And he's like, "You're not unsigned. You threw the Impact contract."
I saw
at him.
that. I did
And
see
I'm pretty sure that was a shoot, because
it was. It was a
Josh
shoot.
started to cry.
Yeah.
And it was a great moment. I remember getting really emotional watching that on pay-per-view that night. I want to say that was I'm trying to remember, because I didn't buy a whole lot of Destiny pay-per-views. I'm going to think that was the Destiny versus Blackcraft Wrestling pay-per-view, because I used to watch a lot of Blackcraft. So I think that's why I got it that night. But Josh was just lighting the indie world on fire. He was one of the only things I loved about Alpha Wrestling. Then he gets into TNA or Impact, and my feelings about Ethan Page aside, nobody can say that the North wasn't one of the best tag teams Impact has ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of the best tag teams in the last 20 years.
If you put them up there with the Motor City Machine Guns, you put them up there with America's Most Wanted, you put them up there with Beer Money.
Yep.
They're on that level. And then when people, unfortunately, I think a lot of people thought that when Ethan Page went over to AEW that Josh was going to get lost in the shuffle. And I'm not going to lie, I think maybe I was one of them. I'm like, okay, I don't think they know what they have with Josh.
I was with you, yeah.
Right away, they put that X Division championship on Josh, and Josh was the first person to make that championship mean something in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And then from there, look what he's done now. It took me a few days to get over what happened on Saturday night. It was a great match, a phenomenal match. Josh wins, then Moose cashes in and does that whole thing. I was pissed off at first. I have had time to think about it, and I do think in the end they're going to tell a great story, and it's going to make it worth it in the end.
Yeah, that's what I said to you. So I said to you, I said I'm going to give it time, because I'm happy Josh has finally got a storyline now, not just a string of great matches with TJP and Ace Austin. And if it wasn't for those guys' feud, I would have the X Division as my con, because I really think that that's what the company should be built around. That's what made them special. And they've really dropped the ball in the X Division a lot over the last 15 years, ever since the AJ Styles days,
Yeah, I agree.
And it is kind of my con, but Josh brought prestige back to that title.
Brought it back, yeah.
He was getting it there, at least until, and it was the right time to move him anyways, but
it really was.
So my con is going to be the lack of capitalizing on momentum. Oh, and that's my con for AEW, is the lack of keeping their fans. That was it. It was the lack of, you bring in Punk, you bring in Sting, you bring in Danielson, Cole, but they're not doing enough to keep people coming back. That was my con for AEW. But my con for Impact Wrestling is I'm seeing guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling come over. I'm seeing guys from AAA, from CMML, from AEW. They're not capitalizing on that buzz. They're not promoting themselves as this global company. Yeah. And I don't know why, but they need to figure that shit out.
And it's hard to, where do you point the finger? Is that Anthem's fault?
I don't know.
Is that Scott and Don's fault?
You got Suzuki coming in this week. You got Finn Juice rocking out there every week. You just have this great little Bullet Club angle.
Here's the thing. If you're a casual fan, if you don't watch Impact, do you know the Suzuki's going in there this week?
No.
Even if you're a New Japan fan, even if you love New Japan, you love Suzuki. Do you know that he's going to be facing one of the greatest wrestlers in North America?
Nope.
Next week? No, you don't know that.
How about
Impact
this?
Needs to get on that shit.
They just had a great thing with what's his face? Bullet Club. Jay White. Jay White just had a great little run in Impact Wrestling. Bullet
Yep.
Club,
and
they
nobody saw it.
right. That's a problem.
Well, okay, and so here's the question too: who's to blame, and who's in trouble here? Is it Impact or is it AEW that even Kenny fucking Omega going over there couldn't draw?
Well, Kenny drew for them. You look at
No,
their
he
numbers.
didn't, though.
He
He
did. They did their
really
biggest
did.
pay-per-view numbers, Mike. Kenny's a draw.
One pay-per-view.
Two.
One pay-per-view.
Two.
He didn't do shit for the TV ratings. He didn't do shit for TV.
But that's not on Kenny.
I didn't say it's on Kenny. I'm just saying that there's a problem.
Yeah.
I didn't blame anybody.
Like Kenny
I
drew them
literally
big
started
pay-per-view
this
numbers.
I literally started this thing by saying I don't know who's to blame.
I think
what
you
I'm
got to
saying
blame
is there's a
I think you
problem.
got to blame Impact.
There's
I think
a
you do.
problem when you bring in one of the biggest names in professional wrestling and you put your title on him and no one fucking cares.
Yeah, well, like when Kenny first came over, they were drawing pretty good numbers with him, but they didn't capitalize that. I don't know if that's bad booking. I don't know if that's whatever, but
There was definitely some mistakes made there.
figure it out. Let's
right,
go
one.
Let's go to WWE here, and then we're gonna blow through the list here because holy shit, we're running here.
WWE, my pro is unlimited talent. They got the money, they know how to spend it. They have some of the most talented people in the world. There's nobody that isn't talented in WWE.
Mhm.
Let's just flat out say that. Even the guys who can't wrestle that great have something. I don't know if Omos can wrestle, but fuck, I'll pay to see him out there.
He can't, just to let you know. I've been watching. He can't.
But you know what I mean? Everybody, like they know how to pick talent. They always have. They have the most talented guys. This is the one you got to cheat with AEW. I'll cheat with WWE. So I have two cons. My number one con is they have all that talent, don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah, bad
Because
repetitive booking.
They keep them under the fucking heavy finger so badly.
This
of them.
50-50 booking in
horrible.
the same matches every week needs to fucking stop.
But my number one con has to be the production.
Oh, okay. We have the same
Dunn's-
two cons. The camera work.
Kevin Dunn's fast cuts need to stop.
The
It's
zoom in,
number
zoom
one
out,
reason.
zoom in, zoom out.
Even if the booking was good, even if the stories were good, even if it was worth watching again, I still wouldn't watch.
Yeah.
Because he reminds me of my freaking I don't know that he's autistic, but he's probably autistic. My autistic friend James, that's an inside joke. My very special friend James, who was my cameraman in my backyard wrestling days, and he used to think it was cool to grab the zoom button and go, "Ooh, extreme close up." That's Kevin Dunn. Okay, that's Kevin Dunn is. I'm sorry, it's time. He's got to go.
Yeah.
It's the very first thing you and I have discussed this. If I was given the reins, if you gave me Vince's job tomorrow, what's the first two things you do? The first two things I do are fire Kevin Dunn and Nick Khan. It's a no-brainer. Dunn needs to go. He doesn't know what the fuck. Like, what the fuck is that? I can't watch a pay-per-view anymore.
So I watched Crown Jewel from start to finish, and I felt sick after. Like it actually made me feel sick. Like
I tried so hard to watch all of it. I couldn't. I watched 3 matches. That's the best I could do.
How did you watch Hell in a Cell? We didn't talk about that.
I did. Yeah,
It was good, eh?
I'd put it top 3.
Yeah,
Hell in a Cell matches of
I'm
all
with
time.
you. I'm with you for sure.
Definitely.
My pro is SmackDown. SmackDown was really good. It's been really good lately. The Edge and Seth Rollins.
I can't watch TV with a barf bucket in front of me.
Well, I mean, I don't watch the whole show. I watch the big angles from it, and I'm gonna specifically narrow it down to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and to Seth Rollins and Edge. I think those 2 programs have been spectacular, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Happy Corbin, Poor Corbin, Sad Corbin. Fucking Baron Corbin's been really funny lately. So
Okay.
That's my pros. I'm going SmackDown.
All right.
Well,
We're ready to get in the mix some Mick fucking Foley?
let's talk about some pros of Mick Foley's career, man. Let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time.
and these are all pros. This is seven of the best matches this man has had.
Hit it up right away.
No matter what company he's worked for, and we are going to start big. So you know we're gonna get some good matches when at my number 7, he's facing one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling in the man called Sting. We're going to Beach Batch 1992.
I'm surprised it's your 7. I would have had this maybe in my top 5.
Cactus Jack versus Sting.
Falls count anyway.
It was originally my number 6, but it's a few things I've had to move around because of some rewatches I did while you were late.
That is me. I'm late every week.
No,
folks.
you being late was the best thing.
I can do it. I do it weekly
because I got to watch. Because I got to watch the matches that I was originally just being like, I saw it before I remember it. It's fine. Rewatching it changed my list big time. So yeah, Sting, Cactus Jack, fun match. Not very long. I think it was about 13 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's
fast paced.
That's one of the reasons it's probably. It could have been a little longer for my taste. That's probably why it's my number 7. But it was fast paced. It happened all over the place. It was nonstop. Sting was still in the prime of his career, so he could really go at that point, and he could keep up with Mick.
Sting, the champion in this match, world title match. I think so.
Well, it wasn't Mick, so yeah.
Well, I know Mick wasn't. I can't remember if this was a title match or not.
I don't remember, to be honest.
What I you know what, though, I'm going to counterpoint here. I like the fact that it was only 13 minutes because it was like a car crash. It was just like balls to the wall action, backdrops. I thought they used the ramp fantastic in this match.
Thank you. I was going to bring that up. I had that in my notes. I loved the way they used that ramp. Yeah. All right. Moving on to my number 6 was originally in a way better place to list. It just kept getting moved and moved. I can't believe it's my number 6, but I'm going to a match we talked about just last week to 1996 In Your House, Buried Alive.
Okay.
This is originally my number 4.
I would have had this at 6 or 7. I agree with this positioning.
All right. It was originally my number 4. My new number 4 just kicked its ass. It just did.
I hope your number 4 is what I think it is.
But it's such a fun match. We talked about this last week. I love everything about this match, except for Terry Gordy. But everything else was phenomenal. The story they told was great. It was the first of its kind, so it was new, it was fresh, it was different, which is what this feud was all about. They did a lot of things that were new of its kind. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you were going to keep going. I thought you were going to keep talking there. We talked about it last week.
Tyler?
I thought you were going to keep going. I was going to give you the ball to run with it there. Like we said last week, this is a great blow off. Not that it was a blow off, but like the positioning of this match in their feud was perfect. It fit these characters so well, and it fit the time period so well. As you know what I mean, like the dead man, the deranged guy. It was before Mick became a comedy character. It's before the American Badass. Like it was just perfect timing coming off of the Boiler Room Brawl match.
You just said it the best way. It was 2 comic book characters. That's what it was. Yeah, and
you
were watching a cheesy horror movie.
Taker and Mankind. Come on, these guys. One of the greatest feuds of all time.
Going on to my number 5, again, this is one that was originally higher, just needed to be boosted. It sucks, but it is what it is. You might give me shit for the placement on here, but hopefully I can defend it later on. My number 5 is going to Royal Rumble 2000. It's a street fight versus Triple H. I know.
Wow, this is.
I'm hoping I can win you back later on when
I gotta hear the rest of it because this is a top. This is a top 2 for me, maybe. This might be my favorite Mick Foley match of all time.
You and I are on the same page that it is much better than their Hell in the Cell match.
Yeah.
Which goes against everything I said in our Royal Rumble show last year. I was wrong. I was very wrong.
Sorry, my earphone cut out. Can you say that again?
No, I will admit I was wrong. Rewatching both the matches side by side this week, this is the better match, 100%.
It's one of the greatest matches, not only in Royal Rumble history, but this is the match that made Triple H.
On our Royal Rumble list, Royal Rumble 2000 made my number 3 as the best Royal Rumble pay-per-view, the third best Royal Rumble pay-per-view ever. Rewatching it, and I did rewatch the entire thing a couple days ago. I'm thinking I might change my own mind and say it's probably number 2.
Yeah.
Second,
if the Rumble match was better, it would be the best Royal Rumble.
That's the only reason it was number 1, because the Royal Rumble match itself, especially the finish, took it off me. The rest of the card was amazing.
It's one of the best undercards WWE's ever done. Table match with the Dudleys, Taz's debut.
The only Royal Rumble pay-per-view that was better than this was 2001. I'll stand by that.
2001 was the one when Austin won, right? With Drew Carey in it. Great undercard too. Dudley's against Edge and Christian. What was the other one? Triple H and Kurt Angle, Jericho and Benoit. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. That Rumble was really good too. Yeah, that's probably the best.
Let's talk about the street fight for 2 seconds. Just pure fun. Just violence. What a way to start 2000. They beat the fuck out of each other, but it was far better. Yes, it was probably as violent, but a better told story than the year before with his match against The Rock.
Yeah. I will give a spoiler to everybody listening to this that once the January season rolls around, this is going to be on Classic Match Classroom, this match.
How could it not be? Of course. So my number 4. My number 4 originally wasn't even on the list. Then it was like, okay, it's got to be my number 7. Then it's like this for my number 7.
I'm glad this is your number 4.
Then I'm like, I got to go and rewatch it. I'm like, because I was going all by memory. And I remember this match being a clusterfuck. A fun clusterfuck, but a clusterfuck nonetheless. I rewatched it while waiting for you today.
I'm glad this is your number 4.
So happy I did. My number 4 is Over the Edge, 1998. Yep. Again, it's Dude Love versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This match is so awesome.
Let's start from the beginning, okay? With Howard Finkel reading this prepared statement about Pat Patterson, which is amazing. Even the inside jokes from JR when he's like, when Finkel's like, the first ever Intercontinental champion who won a grueling match in Rio de Janeiro, and JR's like, wink, wink. Because I guarantee I didn't get that joke in 1998.
No,
you know what I mean? But I get it now. So funny. And then Pat comes out, and he's the special guest ring announcer, so he gets to announce Joe Briscoe out as the special timekeeper. Then he announces Vince McMahon out as the special guest referee, and they're hilarious. It's all so funny. And then the match happens.
What a fucking wild match this is.
And it just keeps changing. And it's supposed to be a straight out match. But every time.
Wait, you missed the part though. The Undertaker.
Well, I was getting there.
Well, that happens at the beginning though.
Oh, okay.
Because remember they put it out there. Vince was like, anyone can come and protect you, Steve, but he was like threatening the roster. Like, if anyone comes out, I'll get you.
I had a really cool way to bring this in, but since you fucked it up for me.
I mean, the Undertaker.
I'm going to say that in 1998 they were all over your booking, man, because they brought out Taker as the gatekeeper.
That's right.
Right. Everything you said wasn't last week about how you would book the Taker these days. That's what they were doing in 1998. He came out and he was like, "Yeah, do not fuck with my shit." Because he wasn't out there to protect Steve Austin. He was there to protect his investment. He was out there to protect that WWE championship. Because that's for him. And that's a story that doesn't get told anymore. God,
the titles are supposed to mean something?
Thank you.
What?
Oh, fuck. Anyways, this is storytelling at its best. And again, like I said, it's a clusterfuck because there's so many moving parts and so much going on. Like too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen, but at the same time, it fucking worked.
Yeah,
it really did.
I love the story in this match. You got to stack the deck against Austin, which got the crowd into it.
And one of my favorite parts, every time things aren't going Mick Foley's way, there's Pat Patterson on the mic going, "I just want to remind you all that this is a no disqualification match. And it's how genius is that?
You know,
not just saying this is now a no disqualification match. He says, I want to remind you, like they should have known the whole time, which is bullshit.
Yeah. You know what was even better than that
good.
though? Was Jim Ross's responses to everything.
Yes.
What is that? This is ridiculous. Like Jim Ross was so good.
And then the King is like, what? He's just reminding us.
Yeah.
It was so good.
JR and the King.
The King and JR were on, they were both on 10 that night.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, because their parallel works so well because the King was all about Mr. McMahon. And JR be like, oh, King, Mr. McMahon. And he was like all on Austin and worked out so well. I love this match.
And then you have McMahon eating a chair, so he's out of it.
He plugs the Briscoe body shop everywhere.
Yeah. Chioda tries to come out and save the day, but he eats a fist from Pat Patterson.
Taker lays them all out.
That's not an innuendo. It's all this shit's going on. Finally, Taker just has enough, and Taker just starts throwing choke slams everywhere. It takes out the Stooges. Austin hits Foley with a stunner, grabs McMahon's hands, and he makes him count the 3. Great finish. Can I say this though? I'm going to go ahead and put it out there that other than Vince McMahon, nobody takes a stunner worse than Mick Foley.
I thought Foley was okay with it.
Foley sucked at stunners.
Vince does take the worst stunner. I know Linda McMahon took a pretty bad stunner as well. But this is a perfect place for this match.
So thank you for being late and giving me the chance, because this originally would have been, because this originally, just based on my memory alone, if I didn't rewatch it tonight, it would have been my number 7. And I guarantee you'd be hot at me.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you asked me if this should go on or Hell in a Cell should go on, I was like, what? Are you fucking smoking crack here? Like,
I haven't watched the match in years, and I don't remember it being that
I love
good.
the Dude Loves Steve Austin feud. It's one of my favorites.
To be perfect, right now it's my number 4. Could have been my number 3. Like my number 3, I think, is just as good. They're on par.
All right, let me hear it, because I need to know where you're going the rest of the way here. I think I know what your number 1 is. I think
my number 3, my number 2, just based on prior conversations with you, you're gonna have heat, and I don't care.
Well, I'll fight you then.
My number 3 is Backlash of 04. We're going Randy Orton.
I'm fine with this.
It's not my number 3, I'm afraid of.
I maybe would have switched this and put it your number 4, to be honest, because I really like the Austin match better. But you can flip a coin.
It's flip a coin. They could have gone either way. The only reason is because this has been my number 3 since day 1. It hasn't budged. Fucking Over the Edge went from not being on my list to number 4 in minutes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But this Randy Orton match, man, it's just so good. It's a great story. It's a great match. It's fully near the end of his career, but at the same time, he could still fucking go. Is really putting over a young Randy Orton. Did a lot of favors for Randy in this match, I think.
Everything that you said about Triple H, it's the same thing here with Randy Orton.
Exactly.
He made Randy Orton legit.
It was kind of confusing in the beginning because how'd it go? He was dressed as Cactus Jack. They announced him as Mick Foley, but he was using Mankind's music.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a weird part for Foley. But I mean, and if you guys really want to hear more about this, like we went deep dive into this on Classic Match Classroom for an episode. This whole angle really made Randy Orton something special.
Did you ever watch the episode of WWE Storytime where Randy Orton talks about this match?
No.
Apparently, right before he hit the curtain, and they already had the match like mapped out, and they knew what they're doing. The music hits, he's about to go, and Vince looks at him and says, by the way, no fucking tax.
That was the spot. And I said this with Anthony. The thing that I think solidified Randy Orton as a superstar was that thumbtack spot. Mm-hmm. That's what gave him like that next level rub.
I guarantee they got the back, and Vince was probably like, you're fucking lucky that it got over that big. And it was never done yet. Like it wasn't done. I don't know if that was the first time it was done in WWE or not, but it wasn't done often.
Yeah.
So
Special.
So when they, not only special, but it was great because when Randy pulled out that big bag, there wasn't like a big pop in the crowd. Nobody knew. And then when he's dumping it out, nowadays, anybody, doesn't matter what company you are, you pull out a big sack, everybody knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
In 04,
especially to
holds
the
up that
WWE
sack.
audience.
Yeah, no one knew. Like, okay, he's got a bag. What?
Like
And
you and
he
I would
pours it
know.
out.
You and I would know, but nobody else would know.
Exactly.
And
So it's
people
cool.
listening to this podcast would know because we're all the
Yeah.
same level of fandom here, right?
Yeah, but
I
even
think I know what
98
I think I know what your 2 and 1 are, and if they're what I
Okay.
think they are, I'll be okay with it.
All right, my number 2, and I because you flat out said that you'd be surprised if it was high on my list. My number 2 is WrestleMania 22.
That's what I thought your number 2.
It's Edge, man.
Yeah.
I rewatched it the other day, knowing it was going to be high on my list. But when I mentioned to you it was going to be high on my list, you said, "Yeah, you see." You flat out told me that you thought that it would originally be high, and then that I would be surprised to see it fall down my list.
You told
That
me
didn't
that
happen to me.
you told me that I would like your list, and I do so far, but I would disagree with your order. I think the only thing I would switch on your list so far, knowing what I think your number 1's going to be, is I would put this and the street fight, and I would switch them. The Triple H Royal Rumble.
So you would still have the street fight as your number 2.
I would have that in my top 3, somewhere in my top 3. I'd have to I'd have to sit down and research.
I like this match better.
I love this match. I do love this match.
I love the match with Triple H, but I just love this match better.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on. I love the story here. I love the story. Mick Foley, a man who's given his body to this company, a man who has done everything for professional wrestling, has been doing this for years and years and still hasn't had a WrestleMania moment.
Mhm.
And then you have,
and it's funny you say that because he main evented WrestleMania 16.
exactly. And then you have the rated R superstar. You have the ultimate opportunist. You have this dirty son of a bitch who flat out he's pissed off. And what was the story? He's pissed off at Mick Foley because wasn't Mick the special guest referee? Oh, Mick was the special guest referee in his match with John Cena, and he lost that match. So now he's got this vendetta against Mick, and now he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to get that fucking."
But if you take that a step further too, though, and you want to pull back the curtain a little bit, Edge really, and I agree with this. Edge and everybody thought he should have main evented WrestleMania this year. It should have been him and Cena
100%.
in the main
It should have
event,
been.
not Triple H and Cena. And Edge was pissed off about it, and Foley wanted his moment, and it was like the perfect storm, right? Foley needs something. Edge is motivated. Edge might have been one of the best wrestlers in the world at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out there being like, fuck you. This is my spot. I should be the main event. I'm going to steal the show. And they did.
Yeah.
And they did, without question.
100%. They did all the things that you remember from his matches with Randy and his matches with Triple H. And, they did all those things, but they did them a little bit differently. And they did them in ways that only Edge can kind of do. Like Edge's selling is on nobody's level.
Yeah.
His facial expressions, his psychology, everything he does is for reasons, for purpose.
The look on his face when they went through the fire.
I've gone on record so many times saying that Randy Orton and Edge are the 2 best psychologists since Jake Roberts.
Do you think that Edge is like underrated and when people talk about the greatest wrestlers of all time?
Of course he is.
Because I don't think people give
because that name never comes up. Hell, I have a guy I know, Andrew Kent, used to be a host on WrestleMedia.
Super nice guy. I've talked to him a few times. Really like him.
He's a piece of shit, and I'll tell you why. I did a show on The Lasting Mark once, all on unpopular opinions. I plan on bringing that concept back on Canada Out one time, just in the list form. But I wanted everybody's unpopular opinions. Me and Danny had ours, and I reached out to the rest of the media guys and said, "Give me your unpopular opinions, and I'll put them on the show." Well, his unpopular opinion was he doesn't get Edge.
Well, that is unpopular because Andrew
Yeah,
Kent,
right?
that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Exactly. I don't get you, Andrew.
Yeah,
Edge is
idiot.
one of the greatest.
I'm just kidding. Sorry. I'm just
If
kidding.
you're not putting him in your top 10 of all time, you're wrong.
I don't know if I put him in my top 10 of all time, but he deserves more respect. He deserves more respect than what he gets. His body of work on his comeback has been really good too.
All right, it's time for my number one then.
Let's go to 96, baby.
Let's go to 96. Of course, it's Mind Games, Shawn Michaels. It has to be.
It has to be. So
I tried to swerve you off air just so you'd be pissed off.
I got a little pissed off because I'm drunk and I'm believing it. Wait. Before you get into your number one here with Shawn Michaels at Mind Game, can I bring it full circle to your 97? Or sorry, not your 97, to your number 7. Let me try that again.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Jack Daniels, for hijacking me. Your number 7 was Sting versus Mick Foley, correct?
Yes.
So if you read Mick Foley's first book ever, which I'm sure you have, and I'm sure we all have read that book. You never read Have a Nice Day?
Was it Have a Nice Day? I was trying to remember which one was his first one. I have a long fucking time. Like it was brand new at the time.
It was like the GOAT of books, right? Like it's like why we have a million wrestling books now because of this book. And in that book, he talks about how his favorite match of his entire career was versus Sting at Beach Blast 92 until 96, until he had this match. And he tells the stories like, I remember telling Sting that his match is no longer my favorite match of all time.
Why would you do that?
And seeing the heartbreak in his face. Which
so funny.
I'm really glad it's number one. This is the best match of all time. It's so good.
This is just it's probably the best match of 1996.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best matches of 1996, if not the best match of 1996.
I would say this and Austin and Brett at Survivor Series the following month are the best two matches of 1996.
Yes, okay, I'll give it that. This match, man, because it took Mick Foley, not only Mick Foley, Mankind, this character who's only been violent until now. Like, how is he going to be able to get to Shawn Michaels level? How is he going to wrestle Shawn Michaels? Then flip that over. Shawn's never wrestled anybody like this. Shawn, you know what I mean? Like he's never faced, like he hasn't even had a big profile feud with the Undertaker yet, let alone somebody like Mankind.
Yeah.
So what are these two guys going like? How can they coexist in this match?
And it was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, right. And those fans.
Foley was babyface, man. Yeah, Foley was a lot more babyface.
Smart enough. They knew who he was. But then, man, some of the spots in this match are just such genius. Shawn truly brought out the best in Mick Foley in this match, like he does everybody. I told you off air that I'm planning on doing a list one day of people who had their best matches with Shawn Michaels.
I love that idea for a list.
I bet you anything I could probably get 7.
You could probably have a hard time getting 7. Hard time narrowing it to 7.
It might not be best matches, but like
you know why?
Pretty much best matches.
That's why I love our show. And I'm gonna toot our own horn for a minute. And I've been drinking and I don't care. We come up with ideas that are different. You know what I mean? Our top 7 list. We're not doing top 7 what everybody else is doing. That's such a unique idea, and I love that list, and I'm really excited.
Let's see if I can pull it out. Let's see if I can put it together, because I can think of 3 names off the top of my head alone. So if I actually, buckle down, get some information, do some research, I have a feeling I could make a list.
And that's part 2 of why I love our show too, because sometimes we just say shit and never do it, and fuck it.
No, that's not true. Okay. I'd like to tell you my favorite spot in this match, and then I want to hear what your favorite spot in this match is.
Okay.
My favorite spot in this match is when Foley did his very famous spot that he had done as Cactus Jack 1,000 times. Fuck, he lost an ear doing it when he hits the ropes and flips around. And he gets caught up. But here's where it's different. Sean actually tries to get him undone. Like Sean actually tries to help him. The deranged psychopath Mankind is being choked, is being hung. And instead of allowing his opponent to help him, what does he do? He throws the fucking mandible claw in there.
Which was very protected at this time.
What a piece of, yeah. This is long before Sacco. This was one of the greatest finishers.
It was dropping the Undertaker weekly. Like, that's a big deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is incredible. He's like, I'll die here rather than let you help me. Like, this is the Mankind character in general. You know what I mean? This is exactly what that Mankind character was. And then later, the psychology of this match, when Sean picks apart that hand, starts jumping on his hand, trying to break those fingers.
Yeah.
So smart, so good. What's your favorite spot in the match?
Well, I'm not going to take the easy way out and say the table spot, because that was awesome, where they did the crossbody from the top rope to the outside of the ring through a table. Yeah. I really liked the spot where Foley's knee was bothering him and he took the knife and started stabbing his own knee. I was like, this guy's a psychopath.
And you don't know what it was. Was it just him being a pseudo sadist? Was it like JR had alluded to? JR's like, he's trying to get the feeling back in his leg. Who knows? It doesn't matter. He's a psychopath.
Also love Paul Bearer's facial reaction to the Undertaker being in the casket.
Yeah, love that spot.
I love Paul Bearer. I just watch a lot of Paul Bearer and Undertaker stuff lately, and Paul Bearer is so good.
I wish it wasn't a DQ finish.
Me too. But it worked, though, because I don't think either one of these guys should have taken a loss at this point.
If I had to pick apart, it has nothing to do with the match. It has to do with the atmosphere. I hate this about 1996 in general. I hate Jose Lothario as Shawn Michaels.
Oh, Super Sock. Come on.
Fucking hate him.
Yeah, it sucked.
It didn't make sense. It didn't fit. For the WrestleMania build-up, it made sense. Fine. For WrestleMania itself, fine. That day after WrestleMania, he should have been gone. And now on this very pay-per-view, he's having matches with fucking Jimmy Cornette.
Hey, got the guy a payday.
Come on.
Super Sock.
But everything else, man, this is a very rare, flawless match for Mick Foley.
So I have a question for you. Why do you think I was going to hate your list? I liked it.
I thought you'd hate the order. I did. I thought just
the only thing I would have changed is I would have put the street fight different. That's it.
Alluding to a few of the things that you said about the Edge match, like in our conversations, I knew you'd want it on the list, but I thought you would want it at like this 5 or 6 spot.
I think I would have put it at 5. I think I would put up 5.
See? And then
I would have switched it maybe with the street fight. I think the street fight should be number 2.
And being an old school WCW fan as you are, I thought you would want Sting a lot higher.
No, I think Sting was perfect. I think it was perfect where you had it. There's a couple of honorable mentions. I think for WCW that would have been good, like his the Nasty Boys against Max Payne and Cactus Jack. I think would have been good.
Okay.
One I don't know if you even put on your radar. I forgot to mention to you him against Mil Mascaras.
Oh no.
That was one that he took that big bump that really kind of put him on the map. Those are 2 WCW ones that I thought were good, but
I've got 6.
I think you had I think you had all the right matches on your list.
You had
the 7 that I would have put on.
I did think that you would be okay with my match selection.
Yeah.
I didn't. I figured you'd have a problem with my order.
So here's something I want to give you props for, and it's going to go against what I did last week. I'm glad that you didn't put Hell in a Cell against the Undertaker on your list, because you're talking about Mick Foley matches this week.
I'm talking about matches,
and that match was not spectacular.
And I'll concede to you, because you were talking about moments last time. I'm going to concede to you that as a moment, that match is very important in the legacy of that. Okay. I still don't think it's number 1.
I don't think it's the best match they even had in the rivalry.
No, but as far as a match, we're not talking moments here. We're talking matches. If I was talking best Mick Foley moments it's probably my number one.
It has to be. It's one of the most
But-
famous moments in professional wrestling history.
But this is not moments. This
Nope.
is matches. That match was garbage. It
Tip my
wasn't even a
cap to you.
match.
Tip my
Yeah,
cap to
It
you,
wasn't
man.
even a match. I do have 6 honorable mentions, but before I get to honorable mentions, I want to talk about 2 matches that are not honorable mentions.
I'm intrigued.
That I might get some heat for. Maybe not from you, but from other people. And nowhere on my honorable mentions am I going to talk about Vader.
He had one real good match with Vader on Saturday night.
I watched that yesterday, and it was
One where
boring.
Vader broke his nose.
Yeah, I found it boring.
Really, I thought I
maybe
remember. I
I'm-
haven't watched it in 10 years.
I'm like, maybe this match will be better than their Texas Death Match. And I went and I watched it, and I'm like,
I
couldn't
told you the
keep
Texas
engaged.
Death Match wouldn't make your list.
Garbage.
Well,
Garbage.
because that stipulation sucks.
I
The
hate
match
the
was
stipulation.
fine. Just the gimmick
And-
sucks. And you know what? I'm talking
The only
directly
thing-
to you, Jay and Tyrone. That match sucks.
the
Texas
only
Death
thing
Match.
the only thing that saved any of those matches was Harley Race.
I love Harley Race.
Love Harley Race.
What?
All right, so my honorable
finish?
mentions. It couldn't make the list, but let's at least give it some. Let's give it some love. Triple H on the Cell, No Way Out 2000.
Yeah.
It's at least an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Talked about this last week. Undertaker SummerSlam 1996. Boiler Room Brawl. The not so talked about, unfortunately, Undertaker King of the Ring 1996
Absolutely.
needs to be a fucking honorable mention. Sabu Holiday Hell 1995,
Yeah.
not great, fun. Terry Funk King of the Death Match,
Yeah. Just legendary.
and a fun little one I watched. It wasn't great, but a fun little match I watched earlier today. Shane Douglas at SummerSlam 1996.
Fair. I'd also throw a Triple H Mankind SummerSlam cage match on there.
Yes. Why didn't I think of that? I can't believe I didn't remember to put that on. I love that match.
And
That's one of my favorite matches in their whole.
I'll go one step
rivalry.
further. Just the debut of Dude Love. Not because the match was fantastic, but I just love the angle. And
Oh, let's throw on the debut of Cactus Jack in
Yeah.
WWE as well.
yeah, absolutely.
That match was great with Triple H.
Absolutely. Mike,
Do you have
did a
any
great
other
job, man.
honorable mentions? Or
I mean, I'm sure I do, but I'm not going to think about them right now.
there's one I'm surprised you didn't mention because unfortunately I didn't get to watch. I didn't get around to watching it, but you did mention to me that he had a good match with Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. At Spring Stampede 94, Lose the Town match. It was on one of my lists last year.
I also had another honorable mention. I forgot to mention. It was just wouldn't even come close to being on my list. It was really fun. He had a great match with Eddie Gilbert. That
Yeah, they had
People
that
should go
little
out to
King of
watch.
Philadelphia rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The camera
It
work
was-
was really bad on it though, but I
it
know what you're
was
talking about.
but it was a fun match. The
Yeah.
one that I watched not long ago.
You can also go him and Sting
That
in the
is it.
cage in TNA. I thought was fun. That was a good little match too.
I wasn't doing that to myself
Yeah.
after my Last Man Standing incident where I watched a whole shitload of really bad TNA stuff. I decided not to watch any of Mick Foley's TNA shit.
I think you nailed your list though. A couple things I would have changed the order, but not as bad as you thought I would be. Though.
But
I'm pretty much with you on this.
We
list.
will always agree that Mick Foley will never have a better match than against Shawn Michaels.
And we'll
at
always
my
agree
games.
that Mick Foley, thank you for everything you've done for professional wrestling.
I don't think we get like ECW to where it was without a Mick Foley. We don't get a GCW without a Mick Foley.
Him and Terry
We
Funk
don't-
had a good match on Raw too.
we
Dumpster
don't get-
match with the New
oh,
Age
yeah.
Outlaws. You can keep
Yeah,
going
yeah,
and going.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Mick
All right.
Foley. Mick Foley transcended. Mick Foley was everything that Nick Gage is, but Mick Foley was also
nicer.
everything that John Moxley is. You know what I mean? He was everything. He wasn't just a hardcore guy.
Before
he
I
could do it all.
Before I tell you to take it home here, Mike, let me say this. Foley is good.
I hate you so much sometimes.
That's good, right?
That was good. That was good.
Can't get better than that, buddy. Take us home.
On behalf of the greatest matches in the history of the hardcore legend, bang bang.
Son of a bitch, I was going to do that. Cheers.